David Bay here for MuscularDevelopment.com. We are in Las Vegas for the 2015 NPC USA Championships. I'm hanging out here with super heavyweight competitor Sergio Oliva Jr. Sergio, obviously a big contest coming into the USA. It's your first pro qualifier since doing nationals in 2012. I had a big showing at junior nationals last year. Talk to us about what you've been doing over the last year to try to get ready to walk away with a pro card here this weekend.
Well, yeah, actually after junior nationals, I had hernia surgery. I was born with it, and it was just, man, it really bothered me a lot on the junior national stage. A lot of judges kind of talked about how I was posing, and they didn't know that that's why it was, and so that was kind of my sign that I need to be done with that and kind of get rid of it. It was more like cosmetic, but I just kept bothering me on stage, and I mean, that showing was really good. I felt like I was doing really good, and then I messed it up like right before. And it's just what happens when you try and do things on your own, and I've been doing it on my own this whole time, and that was another sign for me that it's time to get some help at this. And so after I got that surgery, man, I came back with a vengeance, and I decided to take like 6 months off. So I lost about 80 pounds after junior nationals. So the mental part of it was definitely was pretty rough. But I got back on it, and I got back up to about 300. And then about 2 months ago, I contacted George Farah about getting some help, and man, it's just been completely different. The prep, everything's been completely different than I've ever done, and I guess we'll see tomorrow if we can get our work.
Now, George has a reputation for actually putting a lot more food in people's diets than what they had done in the past. Was that similar in your case?
Usually I eat about the same kind of quantity. It was the quality that was different. I definitely was over dieting. I always had the mentality that if you suffer more, then that usually means you'll win, and that's not true. So actually, it was the kinds of foods and how we kind of tapered off and on of them throughout the prep, which was really surprising to me. But the amount, I was already eating a good amount. It definitely was a lot of food for sure, but it wasn't that much different. It was the kinds. It was, not touching brown rice once the whole prep, and a lot of things that a lot of bodybuilders just live off of, and I didn't touch them once. So that was definitely different for me, but I feel really good about it. I mean, I feel dead physically, of course, but mentally I felt a lot better going into the show than I did the last one. The whole, should I do this or do that, just having someone that I can kind of go to and ask and tell me, shut the hell up and calm down, is what I need. And you need that last couple of days, and it's been really good so far.
All right, now one of the questions I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times, I think this is my first time interviewing you. You're obviously in a much different situation than a lot of the guys getting on stage, being, Sergio Oliva Jr. And again, I'm sure you get this question all the time. Do you feel like there's added pressure coming into these shows, gunning for a pro card with your father having been a former Mr. Olympia? Because, if we look at, a lot of the old school guys, Arnold and your dad and guys from the 70s and 80s, there really aren't a lot of, sons out there competing of former greats. You're kind of out there alone on that.
Yeah, sadly there's not, and I'm hoping that I can change that, because it's only living proof that the sport is living on, and that's how it should be. I think De La Rosa and the relationship he has with his father are really good. I don't know what happened to Darren Charles and his son, but stuff like that is stuff that I look at and I'm really envious of, and I wish I had that. So unfortunately, but I still have the genetics, and I'm definitely not going to waste them. So that definitely helps. But I think a lot of people think that the name helps you, and it might with like sponsorships and getting doors open and stuff like that. But I mean, you're also held up to a kind of a higher level, and that's realistic. I mean, that's fine. I mean, if I would have got into this and thought, boo-hoo, people are going to compare me to my dad, then I shouldn't have got into this sport. It's not that big of a deal. It's just more of coming through and doing what people expect you to do, and like I was saying this time, I definitely did not hold back, and I don't have any excuses. But I think it would be really cool and make history in the sport, for sure. I'm not going to lie. If I could be one of the first child of an Olympian to go pro and get that card, I mean, it's huge, for sure. But I also would like to start to get people to push bodybuilding on their kids, and you can do it in a healthy way, and you can do it as a team, and it builds bonds and relationships and stuff like that. And unfortunately, I didn't have that, and I've been doing it on my own since the beginning. So besides the genetics that I got from my dad, that's about it. So Not much help.
All right, well, definitely no shortage, obviously, in the genetics department. We're going to see how that plays out starting tomorrow at 12 o'clock Pacific time. That's when prejudging starts for the men's bodybuilding. Guys, make sure to follow along to musculardevelopment.com for our live play-by-play, our real-time stage photos, and our professional galleries, and all the other stuff you're used to seeing from musculardevelopment.com. For right now, we're going to wrap it up. So once again, this is David Bay with super heavyweight Sergio Oliva Jr. from the NPC 2015 USA Championships from Las Vegas, Nevada.